barbstamps.com, coming to you live on a Thursday night from Sheridan, Wyoming. I hope you guys are all having a good day. Tomorrow is a holiday, so that's really fun. I made my little thumbnail with some pretty cool glasses. That is a Snapchat filter, for those of you that might not know. I usually always use some kind of a Snapchat filter. Um, for my thumbnails. So that was one that I found today that I thought was kind of fun. So what are we talking about here? I saw somebody say something about crowns, but I don't know what that means. The crowns seem odd, Joan said. Is everyone waiting for Barb? Joan, I don't know what you mean by that. So maybe you want to explain, maybe you don't. Who knows? But anyways, I see a ton of you guys on here. I see some of my team members. Hello to Pat. She is one of my team members, and a lot of times my other team member, Kathy, will jump in here, so that's always really fun. Like I said, I hope you guys are having a great day. I hope you're having a great week, and I'm excited for a holiday weekend. Our neighbors, the little girls that live in our neighborhood, they came by. My husband was getting ready to go to work. We were eating dinner, and they came by and rang the doorbell and gave us a little invitation. They do fireworks at their house every year, and they always invite everybody in the subdivision, which is really sweet. I don't know if we're going to make it over there or not, but it was really sweet of them to invite us. So that was nice. They usually have a pretty good display, and sometimes we will just sit in our yard and watch them. We don't need to go to their house. It just depends. Sometimes my husband, when he gets home from work, he's tired and doesn't want to people anymore. And so sometimes we don't do anything. We just stay home. So anyways, does anybody have any big plans for the 4th of July? We used to, when my kids were younger, we used to go with some friends out to the polo fields that we have here in Sheridan, Wyoming. And Bruce Burns, one of our state senators, is that where he was? I think he was a state senator. Anyway, he would put on a giant fireworks display. And I mean, it was massive and it lasted for a really long time. And so you would drive out there and they would park everybody next to each other in rows on this really beautiful grassy surface. And we would take like canopies, and you could take barbecues, and people would bring, coolers of drinks and beer and whatever. We would bring lawn games for the kids to play, lawn games while we sat there. We'd play cards because one of my friends would always bring a picnic table, and it was a lot of fun. But then Bruce Burns, the polo fields quit wanting people to drive on their grass, which I get. And so that stopped happening, I think, 3 or 4 years ago, which was after my kids weren't little anymore, and we hadn't gone for a few years anyway. So I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm sad that they're not doing it anymore, for me, but I am sad for other people because it was a good, fun family time. So that was fun. All right, so you guys are giving me some stories. Oh, Debbie said she would go on the lake. I have always wanted to be in a boat on the lake and watch fireworks, Debbie, so I am very jealous about that. That sounds super fun. Tony's just going to swim in the yard with her hubby and grill some burgers with her parents. That sounds really fun. I'm sure we will do some kind of grilling. Don't know what it'll be, but it'll probably be hamburgers because, that's what you kind of do on the 4th of July, right? Hamburgers and hot dogs. So we should probably do something like that. I might be watching my son's dog. He has to work tomorrow and Saturday. And he said they're going to be long days. So I said, why don't you bring your doggy here and we will babysit him? Because he's kind of a fun dog. I mean, he's fun to babysit now. He listens better and everything, and I don't mind having him here. So we might have a guest tomorrow and Saturday while he's working. So that would be kind of fun. My husband enjoys having the dog here too. He also enjoys having the dog go home, but he does enjoy having the dog here. So that's fun. Sounds like some of you, let's see, fireworks is hard on her husband. Yes, Joan, I can certainly imagine that. Yeah, I can imagine that. Let's see. Yes, tell him thank you for his service. We do appreciate that for sure. I'm just going to check in some other comments. If anybody, Lisa says she understands not wanting to people. Diane says she's staying home because there's too many people. So yeah, so it should be just kind of a laid back weekend for us. We're not planning on doing anything at all. So we did go on a nice 4-wheeler ride last weekend with my husband's family, with his two brothers, my sister-in-laws, two of my nephews, one of their friends, and my son. So there was 8 of us, 10 of us, something like that. So we went on a nice 4-wheeler ride. That was really fun. Went up to the mountains and just kind of drove around and checked out what was going on up there. We were on the opposite side of the mountain from where the fire was, so everything that we were looking at was still green and the trees weren't burned down. But my husband does want to take a ride up to the side of the mountain where the fire was last year and just kind of check out all the damage. And driving up the mountain, you get to drive through some of that crappy stuff. But he kind of wants to get back in there on the Forest Service roads and check it out. So I'm sure we'll be doing that at some point this summer. So, all right. Hello, Margaret from Australia. Beverly says she's coming in late from Oregon. No problemo. And of course, you guys always know you can always watch the replay. Let's see. Deborah says her cat doesn't like fireworks. They are legal in Ohio and they're frequently shut off during a holiday. Yeah, I feel sorry for pets. My dog did not appreciate fireworks at all. So yeah, I can totally understand that. It's like I'm kind of torn between liking the fireworks and then feeling for people and animals that hate the fireworks. Yeah, so I guess there's never going to be an agreement on which way to go. So we're just not going to do that here. Okay, so I guess that's it. Oh, my daughter found an apartment. I don't know if I had known that information last week when I was live or not. She did find one. She applied for it. She got it. She put the deposit down. Everything is ready. So I will be going to help her move at the end of August at some point. I don't know exactly the date. I can't remember what she said. So I will be gone for probably a week, I would say, helping her get everything moved in and situated. And she needs to buy a couch, so we'll probably do that and decorate and all that kind of stuff. So I'm actually kind of excited about it because that's kind of fun. So yeah, so I'll be doing that. So that's fun. I think my son might drive down there with me to drop off the stuff that she has here, and then he will drive back because he'll drive my husband's truck, and then I'll just fly home because it's just a quick hour flight from Denver to here. Probably cost a fortune, but it is what it is. So that should be fun. So I guess that's it. We might as well get started. Patricia says her dog was terrified of fireworks. Yeah, it's rough. It's rough, and there's almost nothing you can do. You know what I mean? I think they have some kind of medications now sometimes for dogs that you can give them that kind of helps ease their anxiety, I think. So that's good. We didn't have those drugs, or maybe I just didn't know they were available when we had our dog. It's been a long time since we had a dog, probably 10 years. So, oh, right. Thunder shirts. I have heard of those before. They were probably around when I had a dog, but I didn't know about them. So anywho, all right, I'm going to flip the camera and we're going to get started on a few projects that I have for you guys today using the 3 new suites out of the online exclusives. In case you were not aware that there was 3 new suites from the online exclusives, I have some projects for you using those fun things. So let me give the old camera a switcheroo. And I also have mail. I always forget, and I feel bad. I get mail from you guys. I don't get a lot of mail. I mean, some people on the internet get a lot of mail. I don't get a lot of mail, but I do get some mail. And I always mean to share it. And then I never remember to do so. And so today, when I got into my office this morning, I was like, I need to pull those cards out so that I can share them with you. So we're going to do that first. So I start off with a card I have here from Judith. She sent me a thank you card for getting her some two-tone card stock. So there you go. So thank you so much, Judith. This is actually an old kit of ours, and I remember these cute little stitched up ribbons that Stampin' Up! Had. I don't know if they just came in this kit or if you could buy them separately. I can't remember. It was a while, but they are super cute. I got an early birthday card from Tony. Tony's on here tonight, so thank you so much, Tony. This is an actually very cool looking card. So I wanted to share that. So thank you so much, Tony. This was from Debbie. We do a swap in our catalog kickoff, and this was Debbie's swap for that. And so she sent me one, which is so cute. This is the Poppin', I think it's called Poppin' By stamp set. Super cute, and I love that. So thank you so much, Debbie. This is from Kim. Kim was thanking me for, what was it? I can't remember. Let me see if I can peek her. Sometimes I don't like to. Oh, this was her thanking me for the embellishments that we send out. Everybody who registers for our catalog kickoffs, or we actually call them new product launch parties now, we send them an embellishment gift, and Kim sent me a thank you card for that. So that was very sweet of you, Kim. Thank you. All right, this is from Tracy. I believe this was Tracy's swap for that same swap. Isn't that cute? Love that little pig set. All right, and then this one here, oops, we're stuck on another envelope. This is from Robin. She is one of my customers, and she is also a Stamp Happy Academy member. And so she wrote me a very nice note. I just wanted to give her a shout out and thank her. Love this card. I love blue. It's one of my favorite colors, blue and black. And so I appreciate that very much, Robin. Here is a fun card from Donna. This is a fun card where Donna added a bunch of little strips of cardstock to probably, what's this, white? Yes, to white. And then she cropped it out with a circle die. Isn't that fun? And then just added this word. And I think this might have been from a paper pumpkin die set, if I remember right. So love this card. Thank you so much, Donna. We have a card here from Michelle. Michelle is one of my customers, thanking me for some happy mail that I sent. So that was awesome. Very cute card. Loved the jar set. Oh gosh, we've had some really amazing stamp sets over the years, you guys. Holy cow, look at this. This is from Judy. Yes, thanking me for doing product shares. And this happens to be, I have to say, this we had this came in a box. Do you guys remember our punch boxes? It was like a blue tin, and it had the punch and then some stamps in it. This was one of my most favorite things ever. And when I was very first into doing workshops, this is 20 some years ago, this punch box came out, and I can tell you that this was something that like catapulted my business, if you will. That box alone catapulted my business, with people wanting to have more and more parties and classes and everything. I can track it back to this punch box. So thank you, Stampin' Up. So thank you, Judy, for that little walk down memory lane. Then we have this card here. This is from Hope. Isn't this beautiful? Love using black and white paper, because then you can just add any color and it's just amazing. So she actually took some pictures of us at On Stage, and here we are. I have no idea what we are doing there, but thank you, Hope. I appreciate that very much. And then here's one with me and Sarah Douglas, the CEO of Stampin' Up. I don't know what I was up there for. I can't remember, but there we go. So thank you so much, Hope. I appreciate that. And finally, I have a fun card here from, I think, is it Debbie? Yes, this is from Debbie. This is one of those fun kind of stand-up cards. Love it. And this is one of my favorite colors. This was Mango Melody. Loved that color. So isn't this just a beautiful card? So, and Debbie wrote me a very nice note. So thank you so much. So that's my mail. So let me put those away. And we'll get to the business, and I will pull the cardstock in again. This is our two-tone cardstock, and I have been offering shares of this product, and I cannot believe the love you guys have been giving me for this. I keep ordering it, and you keep buying it and selling it out, and I keep ordering more, and you guys buy it, and I sell out again, and I buy more, and I sell out again. So as long as you guys want to buy these sampler packs from me of this two-tone cardstock, I will keep buying them. So there is a link to this in the description of the video if you're interested. It is 48 sheets of various colors of two-tone cardstock, and I do give you a listing of all the colors on this little sheet here. And it ships out basically the same day you order it, as long as I have it in stock, which I have a few in stock right now, and I have more on order because I just keep getting orders. So if you're interested in knowing what two-tone cardstock is and what you can do with it, I do have a video. I believe it was the end of May. It was one of my lives on Thursday, and I have put in the thumbnail something about what to do with two-tone cardstock, so you can see all the projects that I made with it and get a kind of a feel for how to use it and everything. So thank you guys so much. I appreciate that. As I mentioned last week, I'm on track to my $1 million. Disclaimer, less than 1% of demonstrators earn $1 million or do $1 million in sales. Got to always have that disclaimer. But I'm getting very close. And I mentioned it last week. And oh my gosh, you guys, I already got some orders. So we're getting there. I'm about, I think, $13,000 away. So that might seem like a ton to some people. It might seem like nothing to other people. but I'm hoping to hit it in the next few months. So if you do need some stuff, I would love it if you would order from me. Just going to throw that out there. So last week we did talk about the new online exclusives that came out on Tuesday. And if you need to have a PDF to so you can easily see what the online exclusives are, the bundles, what comes in the suites, all that good stuff, I do have this as a free download on my blog at barbstamps.com/shop. You can find this. You can download it for free. I also have my Stampin' Blends label sheet that is also free. If you want to label your Stampin' Blends markers, you can go to my blog. I have the past 3 years of blends, like as we add new in colors, and they are all on my blog also for free. Okay. All right. My In Color Club, you can join this club anytime you want. A lot of people just thought you had to join when the catalog went live. No, you can join anytime you want. It's just a 5-month thing. Your first month, you'll get one color that has cardstock, a marker, some gems, the ribbon, the refill, the DSP, the two-tone cardstock. And then each month you get a color with all those products in it, so you can check it out. And by the end of the 5 months, you'll have all the colors. So you can join it anytime. It does not have to be something that you have already joined for. Anybody can join at any time. All right. Our class for July is the Charming Day class. It's going to be gorgeous, as you know, because it's flowers, and flowers are beautiful. We've got the Designer Series paper we'll be using, the Charming Day bundle, the Misty Moonlight and White ribbon, the Charming Gems, I think they're called, Charming Shimmer Gems, and then we're going to use a Wink of Stella also. So that is our class for this month. I do have a link in the description. I still have 2 of my Floral Impressions classes left. So if you're interested in a class for the Floral Impressions, I have 2 kits left. This month in July, my gift with purchase, any purchase at all in my online store, you will get this emailed to you. It is the Turtly Cute PDF with 10 really cute ideas to use with that if you are interested in that. If your order is $35 or more, you get the Stamp Happy Party also, which is happening next Wednesday night. If your order is $50 or more, then you get this tutorial as well. And just for me to say thank you. So if you are a Stamp Happy Academy member, everything is posted on the website, the link to the party and everything. If you aren't a member of Stamp Happy Academy, why aren't you? Because it's amazing. And I kept saying bingo was this month. I was wrong. I don't know what I was thinking. Bingo is next month. So we'll be talking about that soon. And yeah. Finally, the virtual album retreat's coming up in a couple of weeks, and there's still kits available if you're interested in that. I can't wait. I've got my kit ready. I've kind of sorted some of the things out. I've got my stamp sets in cases. I'm ready to go. And as always, I always have adhesive kits for sale. If anybody is interested in one, I can hook you up. Okay, so the 3 suites that we're going to be working with are, what did I do with that? Nope, this isn't it. Here it is. The Floral Charm Suite, which is the Charming Day bundle, the Floral Charm paper, the dots, and the ribbon. But we're substituting this ribbon because we wanted to have more than one color. I'm also going to use today the Painterly Pairs Suite, which has the Perfectly Pairs bundle. And you know what's really weird? When we were on the incentive trip, they showcased the Perfectly Pairs bundle for us. And they shared some cards and whatnot. And I was just like, whatever, meh. But you know what? I bought it anyway. And I have been pleasantly surprised at how much fun it is to stamp pairs. And I'm going to show you some tips with getting some cool looking pairs today. And then finally, I'm going to be making a card with the Spooky Suite collection, because who doesn't love a cute little kitty cat witch and a little doggy Frankenstein? Seriously. So we're going to be using that stuff too. So we're going to start out with the pairs. And here is the pairs paper. This is the Painterly Pairs DSP. You guys are having a conversation, and I forget to look sometimes. Bonnie still has punch boxes. I do too, Bonnie. I store stuff in them. 4th of July, talking about Canada. Oh, Canada Day. Yes, yes, yes. And Stamp Happy Academy. Thank you, Patricia. Stamp Happy Academy is so much fun. Okay, so here's the Painterly Pairs paper. So we've got this beautiful pattern here, and then the back is just kind of a nice grid. This one is one I really, really love. It's so deep and dark, and it's just really pretty. And then that's got a different color grid on the back. We've got this one here, and I'm pretty sure that these you can crop out with the dies. These flowers here, the pears, the top of the pear, any of these things you can crop out with the dies. I don't know about these tiny flowers here. I don't think so. And the back of this is just some nice vine. Then we've got this piece where the white is middle, so you can kind of chop it up and just to like have sections on your projects, which is really cool. Then we have this petal pink pattern. Then we have this old olive and mossy meadow pattern. And then we've got these fun pears here. And then finally this gorgeous darling duckling paper with the pears. And then the back side is just some kind of delicate little flowers. So we are going to be using the paper, and I'm going to be making a card that has a specific layout, and I'm going to be making another card with the same layout because I think that's kind of fun. When you have a layout and you use it for more than one project, it becomes very valuable, I feel like. So what we have here is we have a layer of white, and this is, pretty sure, 3 3/4 by 5. Yes, that looks to be 3 3/4 by 5. And then the next layer is 4 by 5 1/4. Or if you want it to be a little bit smaller, it could be 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. You do you, whatever you want to do. And then I have an old olive card base, 5 1/2 by 8 1/2. And then my inside piece, which is 4 by 5 1/4 white. And then I have a 3 3/4 by 2-inch piece of this pattern of the DSP. So we are going to stamp some pears. So I need some white. Here's a piece of white, and I am going to bring in a foam mat also because these are photopolymer stamps. So here is the stamp set, and you can see that we have the pears and the leaves, and then we have the detailed pieces that kind of go around all that. And I did a little cheat sheet of the different ways that you can stamp these pears. So I'm going to hold this up a little bit. So this one here is just simply, and this pear right here, I have stamped all of them, okay? So this is Darling Duckling ink, and this is just straight from the pad onto the paper. This one is stamped, I inked it up in the pad, and then I used a sponge dauber to kind of soften up the ink a little bit, and I think this looks a lot better. So I inked it up, and then I tapped my dauber into the ink. Well, I'll show you because I'm going to do it on the one that I'm going to make. This one here is this one, but I added a little bit of old olive around the bottom, just to kind of give it a little bit more interest. This one here is, again, the Darling Duckling, and then I added more old olive around it. This is just plain old olive from the pad. This is old olive, the pad with the dauber. And then this is a Stampin' Write marker. Don't love that at all. But then we're working with a photopolymer stamp, and Stampin' Write markers don't really ink up photopolymer stamps as well as they ink up rubber stamps. So keep that in mind. So we are going to stamp some pears. And what do we have here? So I have the detailed pear here first. And I have a little mossy meadow spot. And I'm just going to ink this up all the way around. And then we're going to stamp this twice because we need 2 pears. So I'll ink it up again. And I see Carla has joined us. Hello, Carla. Good to see you. And we'll go one more pear here, like so. And then we're going to get to the inside. So I do have my Darling Duckling ink here. And I have my solid pear. And I am going to ink that pear up in the Darling Duckling. And then I'm going to bring in my sponge dauber. And I'm going to add some ink to it, and I'm just going to kind of tap this. So what I'm kind of doing is I'm just kind of softening up the ink onto the stamp, so I'm going to get a better image. Then I'm going to bring in the old olive, and I'm just going to kind of tap just very gently, get some of it off, and I'm going to come around the edge here a little bit, but I'm also going to add a little bit more of the old olive around the whole thing. And I'm going to huff on it. That's just going to re-moisten the ink. And then I'm just going to come down and try to stamp it. And then we get that. How awesome is that? I really like that. I think that's pretty cool. And then we're going to clean this off, and we're going to do it again because we have to do 2. So I've got my chamois up there. Spank it dry. And then we're going to ink it up again with the Darling Duckling. And we're going to, again, kind of soften up that ink just a little bit. And then we'll come back in and add some old olive. Again, I kind of like the dark around the bottom edge here. And then we're just going to kind of tap, tap, tap just to kind of add some more. We're going to huff on it again. and then we shall stamp it. Again, try to line it up as best we can, and there we go. So of course your pears are not going to be the same every single time you do it, and that's just life, right? And then we need to stamp a couple of leaves. So I have the leafy piece here, and I'm going to ink that up also with... Now I have a big Mossy Meadow pad, but sometimes Mossy Meadow is just weird. It's a weird ink. And so I also have a spot, and I feel like I get a little bit better coverage with my spot. So I think it might have something to do with maybe a chemical reaction or something. I don't know. Okay, so we're going to get 2 of these. There we go. And then we need our memento, because we are going to do some flowers also. And here's my memento. And here is my flowers. So the flowers, you can see, don't have middles when you stamp them. But there is this little flower middle stamp that we can stamp here, if I can do it. Yes, I did. And we'll try that again. There we go. So now we have flower middles. So now I think I need to close up all these ink pads for the most part, because I don't... Oh, look what I did. How do I always manage to do that? Good thing I have what I call my house pants on, because they're black. And so I can just wipe all of that onto my house pants, and nobody will ever know that it was there. Okay, let me get all my inky things out of the way here so that we don't make a mess. Okay, so for this, I'm going to do a little coloring. So I'm going to start with a dark petal pink, and I'm going to color the flowers. I'm not doing like fancy coloring, I'm just coloring. And now that I'm doing this, I don't know that I needed 2. Did I even need any? You know what? I didn't even need flowers, so I don't know why I did that. I must be thinking of a card that I made last night for a sharing group that I'm in, and I did use this flower, but I'm not on this card, so I'm not going to color any more of that because I don't even need to. But on my stems here, I'm going to use a dark pecan pie for this, I guess this is the stem, the wood. And then I have a light mossy meadow here. And I'm going to color the leaves. And again, I'm not trying to be, with the shading and everything. I just need them to have some color. So bear with me as I just kind of race through this. Now, of course, I've already die cut these, so I don't have my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine is not near where I film my videos. So I do try to always have all of my die cutting done when I do any sort of a live event. Sometimes you can't, if you've got a certain way of doing something, sometimes you can't do it, but I like to have that done. I just feel like the flow is better than if I'm not wasting my time die cutting stuff. Anywho, so we're going to quickly finish this, and then I'm going to pull out all of my pieces that I have die cut already. Okay, and so here they are. Here are my 2 pears and my 2 leafy pieces already cut out. So I think one of you mentioned how you really like the look of the sponge dauber. So do I. I think the sponge dauber just makes it look so much more realistic than just inking it up and stamping it. So I'm kind of a big fan of using sponge daubers on solid stamps. I just think it is really cool. I like how they look. Okay. What else are we doing here? We need to bring in this. We're going to glue our paper to the white layer. So we'll just go ahead and add some glue here, and then we're going to attach it to our white layer. So it's about, I don't know, maybe like 1 inch from the bottom, give or take. We're not measuring it or anything. We're just eyeballing it, which of course that's funny because my eyes are terrible and nothing is ever straight anymore with these eyes that I have. And it's really a bummer. Trying to see, do I have, oh, looks like I cut that just right. Go me. Okay, so then I have some of the ribbon that goes with this suite of products, and it is called the Mossy Meadow and Gold trim. And so what's really cool about this is it is a little bit more gold on one side than the other. Is this going to like focus? Can you see? That's pretty gold. If I flip it over, it's still gold, but it's a little bit more green than gold. So it is pretty cool looking. So we're using that. And so what I like to do is to tie it around something. And actually, I probably like to use my pixie spray. Well, thank you so much, Jan. Yeah, my eyes just are terrible. When I go out driving, I hate to go to the eye doctor, and I keep saying that and I keep not doing it. When I go out driving, it's kind of cloudy. My vision is kind of cloudy, and I don't quite understand why, because I've had cataract surgery already in both of my eyes. I had my first cataract surgery when I was 50 years old. And then I have since had my other eye done as well. And I don't quite understand, I lost my other scissors. I don't quite understand what's going on, and I need to go. I need to just call and make an appointment, but my eye doctor is hard to get into, and so I just keep putting it off, which is going to take even longer because she's hard to get into. Anyways, no one cares. So I like to tie things around a bottle or something. Now, if you care that this gold spot is a little bit darker than that, you can twist this, but yeah. I had laser treatment too on one of my eyes. Actually, I think I had it on both of my eyes, Jan, and I'm still having trouble. So I just, I don't know. I need to go in. Anyways, so I want my knot to be about right here. So I'm going to hold my knot in place, and then I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut so that I have some ribbon that goes around there, and then the ribbon that comes around both sides. So I'm going to tape this to the back. There we go. Sometimes you form a film, and maybe that's what's going on, because I don't really notice it when I'm at home, just like wandering around in the kitchen or the laundry, whatever. I don't notice it. It's only when I'm driving is when I kind of go, oh, you know what? Yeah, that's right. I can't see that well. It's kind of cloudy. So I do need to get it taken care of because, a person you never know what it is. So you should go find out. And so I need to do that. All right. So we are going to tie. We've got those trimmed off. There we go. And then I am going to stamp a little sentiment up there. I've got the word hello, and I think I'm going to stamp that in pecan pie. Actually, let me get my pecan pie here. I was going to use, the die set does come with some little labels. So you've got this longer label here, and then this little shorter label. And I was going to use one of those, but now I don't think I'm going to, because I want to just stamp my word right above my designer series paper. And so I don't really think that I need a label up there to just stamp this. So we're just going to stamp it. That worked out pretty good. Okay, so now we need to add our pairs. And I kind of want one, like them to be, one on top of the other. So I think I'm going to go with this one glued down with glue, and then the other one I'll do dimensionals, I think. So something like this. Francie said she forgot it was Thursday. And it is sometimes when there's a holiday, it is hard to know. It's hard to remember. And then I'm just going to add a little bit of glue to that stem. And we're going to add that right here. And then this pair I am going to add with some dimensionals. So let me find those. I think we'll go with 2 here. There we go. And I think I'm going to raise this one up just a little higher and tilt it the other direction. And then we'll bring in the leafy piece here. And that is a little too much glue, I think. And we might have to tilt that so that the leaf doesn't hang over the edge of the card of the layer. Okay, so this is all there is to it. This is a really simple, easy layout. You can pretty much do it with anything you have, you know what I mean? So the paper again is this one is 2 by 3 3/4. You could make it 1 3/4 by 4. I mean, whatever size layers you want to use. but it's just an interesting layout. And then definitely put your ribbon on there, because ribbon always just gives it a little something, something, right? And then we're going to add some dimensionals back here. Get this popped up, and then I have already done my inside piece for this card, so I'll bring that in here in just a minute. And you know what? I feel like this is not 5.5. I feel like it might be longer. Well, it wasn't much longer, but again, my eyes, they must be playing tricks on me because it seemed like it was longer. It's not. Okay, here we go. Fun, fun, fun. We also have these cool gems that come with this collection of products, and these are called, I don't remember, of course, low profile sparkle dots, and they're very flat, which I love me a flat gem. And I'm going to bring my take your pick tool in here, and I think we're going to go with, if we did the Darling Duckling, would that be like, whoa, in your face, yellow? Where would I put it? Up here? I'm just going to kind of barely tap it down so I can see if I actually like the yellow. Trying not to press it too hard. Yellow? Maybe, but I think up there is not the right spot. I think maybe I should put it... I don't know. I didn't think this far in advance. Okay, pull that off. What if I did that? Yeah, we're committed. We're doing it. Okay. Then for the inside, I stamped the little duo pair thing. I did the same thing. I inked it up in the Darling Duckling, but I only added the old olive just around the edges. I didn't do the whole pair like I did on the front. And then I did color the leaves, basically the same thing with the pecan pie and the mossy meadow. And so then I put the word friend in there, which also comes in the set. And there we go. And I am just really, really liking this pear set. After I figured out the using the sponge daubers, I was very much happy with it. And, you know, I feel like you could do this with any color. Like I've said before, when I'm stamping things, I don't always feel like things have to be their real color. Why? I don't know. I mean, I've colored dogs purple before, and I've colored flowers any color you can imagine. I'm probably going to do these pears in blue because I think that'd be kind of fun. There is some blue in this paper, and I thought that might be fun. This is Old Olive, Cheryl. All right, so let me pack up my goods here, and we will get the stuff for the second project that uses this same layout. So we're going to do two. It's going to be like a twofer. This is kind of what we do in Stamp Happy Academy when we do our live classes. We do this very similar thing. We come up with some layouts, and then we make like 3 cards for that layout. And so it gives you a really good idea of what you can do with that layout. And we give you all the dimensions, and of course you post all the photos and everything. So this is like a tiny, tiny glimpse into a Stamp Happy Academy class, if you will. Clean these off. All right, and I believe Cheryl is also one of our fabulous members of Stamp Happy Academy. So thanks for joining me tonight, Cheryl. I appreciate it. Okay, we are going to move this bucket and bring in the stuff for the next card. Now this, we're going to use the Halloween paper. This is called the Spooky Sweet Designer Series paper. And there is fun little treats in this paper. Let me get it out of the package. And I think I'm trying to get out just the 6 sheets so we don't, well, maybe I pulled out too many. We'll see. Okay, so this is one of the patterns. This is actually the pattern that I'm going to use today. This is super cute. This is just a bunch of little pieces of candy in some really fun colors: Daffodil Delight, Pumpkin Pie, Petunia Pop, and Granny Apple Green. And then the back side of this is just kind of a, I don't even know what you'd call this. It kind of reminds me of a storm. That's kind of what I feel like when I'm looking at this. And it's got some pumpkin pie, black and gray in there. Then you get 2 sheets of these cute little die cuts. Look how cute these are. So you can just crop or just punch these little things out and make your own scene, which I think is super fun. So you get 2 sheets. They're both the same. Really fun. Then we have this piece here, which Stampin' Up! Does this a lot, where they have like a kind of a scene on some of the paper. So you could just take some of these little die cuts and you could just glue them to your scene, and then you're done. Your card is finished. And then if you were a scrapbooker, this would be a nice, large piece that you could put on your 12 by 12 layout, or you could cut it. You know what I mean? You could cut it and have it be 4 different cards or something like that, whatever you want to do, which I think this is really fun. And then the back side of this is this kind of beautiful petunia pop color, which you could literally use for anything, not just Halloween. You know what I mean? Okay. Let's see. The pears remind me of my grandmother. She had a pear tree and always made pear sauce. Yes. But she never used a recipe. Okay, I don't know what's happening here, but you guys are talking, so I'm going to let you do that. Then we have this piece here. It would be fun if these had dies to go with them. They don't, but you could cut them out with scissors, or you could just use, a piece of this for whatever you need to. The back side is some kind of black splatter, and then the pumpkin pie. This piece I thought was super fun. So you could cut these apart, and you could have multiple, you could use them on multiple cards, and then you could take these little die cut pieces, and you could like put this little bird with the pumpkins. You could just slap it in there. You could stamp your little sentiment up there, cut that out. Like that could be your focal point of your card. Maybe wrap some ribbon around it or something. Super fun. So there's 8 of this one, because there's 2 sheets, 8 of this one, 8 of these tags. And then you have these here that you could cut apart too, which I think is really fun. And then the back side of this is just some kind of gray and some splatter. So I think you could do a lot of things. You could put these on treat packages. You know what I mean? This could be like a little thing for a treat package, just all kinds of fun things. This I thought was really interesting. I like this, how it's just kind of like creepy windows, but that they're not creepy because they're so stinking cute. And then the back side is just some more kind of just random pattern. And then, oh, we have that one again. So I did pull out an extra piece, but that is some fun paper. So for my card, again, it's going to be the same layout that we did before on the other one. So here are my pieces. I just lost a little die cut thing here. I need to put these off to the side so I don't lose them. So we're starting with a black card base. So this is our 8.5 by 5.5. And there we go. And then I have my 3 3/4 by 5 piece of white, my 2 by 3 3/4 piece of designer series paper. Now this layer, in my previous card I did 4 by 5 1/4, but I'm switching it up ever so slightly, and this is 3 7/8 by 5 1/8. So it's going to be a slight border, whereas the other card had a more border. And then I have a layer for the inside. This is 4 by 5 1/4 and a scrap of white. So we are going to do some stamping first on our scrap of white, because we need to do some stamping and coloring. And I need to find my memento pad. And for those of you that may be wondering what this is, maybe you've never watched me before, you've never seen this. This is what Stampin' Up! Sells. Got glue on it. Stampin' Up! Sells a white craft pad. So when you purchase it, the pad comes empty. There's no ink in it, and they give you a refill. Then you can ink up the pad, and you have a white craft ink. Craft ink is similar to Versamark. It's a sticky ink that you can use for embossing. Or you can stamp it on black. It looks really cool. So, but what I did, because I wanted a foam pad for my memento, is I inked this up with memento rather than the white. So I purchased the white craft pad and refill, but I put memento ink into it instead, because a lot of stamps just look a little bit better when they have been inked with a foam pad. So that's why I did that. And I am very happy with it, and I don't regret doing it ever. I've never regretted it. Okay, so we have our cute little cat witch. We have a little pumpkin trick-or-treat bag. And then we have this adorable little broom for the kitty. Stamp that. All right, so now we need to color everything. And so I just love Halloween colors: green, orange, purple, and black. I love all of it. So we are going to use some gray for our kitty cat. I've got light and gray. This is smoky slate. And I'm going to do, what did I do? I got to look at my little kitty here so I can see what I did. All right, okay. So I did the outside of the ears, the light. And then I did, of course, these cute little paws. And the majority of the face, I also am doing with the light smoky slate. Then we're going to do the dark smoky slate for the tail, the inside of the ears, and the little patch between the eyes here. And we're just going to kind of add a little bit more over on this edge, just slightly. It should kind of blend in, I hope. At least it did on my other card. And then we're going to do the tail in the dark smoky slate. And like I said, between the eyes here. Oh, I needed to do the other little part of the face with the other gray. I forgot. So we're going to go back and we're going to do that. So this will also be the light. And then we're going to do a dark petunia pop for the nose. And a little bit on these little socks here. So cute. I've got a dark pumpkin pie, and I'm going to do that on the next stripe of the sock. And then we have a light pumpkin pie that we're going to color in our little pumpkin treat container. Okay. And then I've got a light petunia pop here that I'm going to be doing this little shirt that she's wearing. I think it's a her because I just do. And we're just going to get that and come up here and come around. And then the little skirt, we will do the light pumpkin pie also. I should have done that when I was doing the pumpkin, but I forgot. All right, and then we'll do this cute little skirt here. And then we will get the green in here, our granny apple, and our yellow. So we're going to do dark granny apple for the socks. So we have a tiny bit there at the top of that sock, and then we have these little shoes. And then finally we have the broom. Okay. So then if we die cut all those pieces, here they are. Oops, I'm having trouble picking it up with my fingernail. Oh, for heaven's sakes. So here we have our little pieces. So cute. And now I love Halloween. I don't like spooky, creepy horror movie Halloween. I like this kind of Halloween. So I was very excited to see this cute little set. Oh, and I forgot, I did do green just barely across those little, what do you call those? Stripes on the hat. Okay, and then I also, because in the die set, which I should show you, and I should show you the stamps. So in the stamps, we have a few sentiments. We have a little set of bats, and then we have these adorable little creatures here, and the pumpkin and the broom. All of these have dies to go with them. And then we also have a few extra dies. One of them is the fence. So we have the fence. One of them will cut out two larger bats. We have the house. I've got a card with that, and I'll show it you in a minute. You get two pumpkin baskets. And then you get this tag die. And I did not understand what this was. I had to look at the samples on the Stampin' Up! Website. But they have it shown where so the die, it comes out like this, just a flat die. And then the bat can pop up. Okay, can you guys even see that really? Is that showing up? The bat can pop up. So how Stampin' Up! Had it was they had it like over something, like the top of a tag or something. So like I could put this on my card and have this label, and then I have this little bat that's popped up on there. How cute is that? Or you could just cut the bat off and you could use it. Or you could just, I don't know if you could just use it as a tag because the bat's in the way. So it definitely has a purpose. You know what I'm saying? But I just thought that was really interesting because I was looking at it, I could not figure out what it was. And then when I, like I said, looked on the Stampin' Up! Website, and I was like, okay, now that's making perfect sense for me. So that is the dies and the stamps. And so I do have a fence cropped out of basic gray. And so we are going to go ahead and add our paper. Top of a treat bag, exactly. Which was really cute. I said tag, didn't I? I meant treat bag. Or you could just put it at the top of any piece of cardstock and it would just add a little element. If I'd have been thinking, I might have done that on this card, but now I am already committed to what I'm doing, so I'm not. Okay, again, about an inch from the bottom, give or take, depending on if your eyes see inches properly or not. Mine, sometimes yes, sometimes no. Okay, yep, I think that looks good. And then we have some ribbon that we need to tie around. This ribbon comes with the suite. It is so shimmery and shiny, and it's Petunia Pop, and I love it so much. It's actually called Petunia Pop Iridescent Ribbon. And I didn't really notice much of a difference on both sides. You know, like sometimes ribbon can have something, the sides don't look the same, but to me this looks basically the same. So I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to tie this again around something. I like to use this Pixie spray can. It's like the perfect size. Or if you have Stampin' Mist, a bottle of our Stampin' Mist refill, that would work too. Some people can use like a water bottle, just, you know, whatever you might have in your craft room, that would work. Okay. So then we manipulate that. And again, I want my knot to be fairly close to the edge. So then we'll just cut that so that we have enough ribbon to go around the edge and the other edge as well. So something like this. And there we go. And that. Okay, that looks pretty good. You are so welcome for the ribbon trick. And is that where the trick of taping it to the back because I can't ever tie a nice knot? Is that the trick? You're welcome, because it's an amazing trick. It works really well for me. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and add this to the back, or to my layer of Petunia Pop. So I'm going to add some glue here. Or maybe tying it around the thing. Is that what it is? The ribbon trick of tying it around something? Yeah, I literally cannot tie ribbon around paper. I don't know why. It's never tight enough, and it just flops on there and looks really dumb. So I very rarely tie things around when I can't do the trick, because it just doesn't work so well for me. I have to do it sometimes. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, but you know, we do our best. Okay, so now this stamp set has our Happy Halloween sentiment in it. And so we are going to stamp our Happy Halloween sentiment up here above my designer series paper. Now watch. I should know better than to have done all this, because now if my sentiment is screwed up, the whole card is screwed up. We're going to try really hard to get it on there and have it be, whew, yay. Okay. Just fretting there for just a moment, but it worked out fine. Okay. So now we need to put our little fence on here. And I was going to kind of put the fence on a little bit cockeyed. Why? I don't know. Just because. So I need to get some glue that actually comes out of the bottle when I try to squirt it out. And again, if I would have been smart, I would have used, say it with me everyone, adhesive sheets to do this, but I didn't. Again, thankfully I am pretty handy with a bottle of liquid glue, and so hopefully this will work. Okay, so we are going to just angle this ever so slightly on here. There we go. And then our little kitty friend is going to just be hanging out by the fence. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. I need some dimensionals. Where are they? Here we go. So we will just add a couple of dimensionals. Maybe we'll put a small one. Do I have a small one? Up here at the top of her hat. Yes. Actually, we might put a strip of one on the tail. So I'm going to cut that and add it to her tail. Okay. There we go. Yeah, the trick is way better than stressing about wrapping it around, because I am terrible about that. Katie says she loves the Petunia Pop ribbon. She's become a collector. Same, Katie. I literally buy every ribbon that Stampin' Up! Comes out with, because I do like all of it. They have some pretty good ribbon. I'm trying to pick up this broom. So our little friend is going to be holding a broom, And so I think I'm going to put a mini dimensional at the base of the broom. And then we'll add a tiny bit of glue at the top. Or maybe I'll put the glue on the hand of the kitty cat. Probably asking for it here by doing that. But we'll be very careful. And we'll have the broom go right over the hand. And we should... There. Oh my gosh, how cute. And then we have this little pumpkin. Now you could cut the handle off if you don't want to have the handle on there, but I'm going to leave the handle because I think it's cute. So she might be double fisting it as far as trick-or-treat baskets go here. And we'll just step our little... There. So cute. All right. And we got to add my bat to the front too. And then we also have some fun little, well, they're not really gems because they are little foam stars in these colors, the black, white, and petunia pop. And they are super cute and they're very squishy. All right, here we go. Let's see if we can get this on here. Yes, I think that's even. Our little bat, we're going to add a little glue to this bat. Whoops, that's the glue that doesn't have any glue in it. Okay. And we're going to add the bat right up there. And then we're going to bring in these puffy stars because they are so fun. So they're actually like foam. You can squish them, but they are glittery. And there's 3 different sizes. There's a small, medium, and large. There's 2 rows of each color. And we are going to go with the purple. And we're going to add a small star and a large star and then a medium star, like so. Ah, so cute. Okay. And then for our inside layer, we have another sentiment that says something, and I can't remember. We're going to find out here in a minute. Oh, it says no tricks, all treats. Okay, so we're going to stamp this hopefully in the middle. We're trying. There. And then we're going to bring in some smoky slate. And we have these, I don't even know what you call this, like a little filler piece, a little filler image. And I just kind of thought that was kind of cute, just to stamp it around our little phrase here. And then we are going to bring in one last pumpkin treat basket, trick-or-treat basket. Stamp that down there at the bottom, and then we'll color that real quick. I'll let it dry for a second while I glue it to the inside of the card. And then I have another one that's exactly the same, but it uses the spooky house instead of the kitty cat to make the same card. Let's color in our little pumpkin here. I have to kind of watch what I'm doing because normally I would die cut this and then I would already have it done, so I wouldn't have to be careful about being in the lines and stuff, but we do need to be a little careful. Okay, so cute. And then here is my other one where I use the house. How cute are these little Halloween cards? And this paper is just so cute. Everything about this is so cute. I don't know how many times I've said cute while making this card, but it is so cute. All right, so there are my 2 Halloween cards using that same layout. And now I have one more card for you that doesn't use this layout, but uses the Charming Day bundle. That is the other suite in this release of online exclusives. So let me grab that bucket here. Get my Halloween cards out of the way. Bring those back at the end. Got a little bit of a mess going on over there, but we're going to just ignore it for now, and we're going to continue on. So, we are using the Charming Day, which is our online class for the month of July. All of a sudden, I forgot what month it was. I should remember July. It's my birthday month, right? So, it's a special month because it's my birthday. Just kidding. It's also Kelly's birthday. Kelly's birthday is Monday. Hers is the 7th and mine is the 21st. So we are almost like twinsies, which is kind of crazy because people mistake us for each other all the time. And especially now that my hair is longer, we really get confused. People really get confused by us, and it's fun. It's been that way for years and years and years. People have called me Kelly. People have called her Barb. It's fun. Anywho, charming day. This is our class for July. I'm going to make a card with it for you tonight. I'm not using the paper, but I have the paper, and it is also equally beautiful. So they all have like kind of a muted pattern on the back side and then a very colorful print on the other side. So here's the Blackberry Bliss. And then the front of that is these beautiful, are these peonies? I don't know, flowers. They kind of look like peonies to me. I don't know. Then we have the pretty peacock layer. And then we have the beautiful roses on the front of that one. We have the navy back here. And then some more beautiful roses. This could be Mossy Meadow, I believe. And then we have some more fun flowers. I actually love this color combination. This is like Timid Tiger, almost like Cajun Craze, Mossy Meadow, and Petunia Pop. Or Berry Burst, actually. I love it. Then we have the Berry Burst. And then we have these beautiful flowers. I think that's it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, so there's 6 different patterns, double-sided, as our designer series papers are. But I'm not using the paper today. I had something else in mind. So this is what I had in mind. A petal pink card base. So 8.5 by 5.5, the old standard. Look at that. Then I have a layer of Misty Moonlight. I can't remember. I think it's 4 by 5.25. Yes, 4 by 5.25. And then I have a layer of white, and this is 4 by 3 by 4. And we are going to cut this on the diagonal here soon, but it's going to go at the bottom, and we're going to kind of chop it on the diagonal. So actually, I'll just do it. So we're going to have it be, there's no measurements or whatever to it. You just chop it off. And then if it's not chopped off enough, you chop off some more. So pretty much anybody could do it. So then you're just going to stick it on there and you're going to go, does that look like about where I want it to be? Sure. So we're going to go with it. Okay. Then we have a scrap of white, and we do need to do a little stamping and coloring. So we're going to bring in our Memento ink again. And we have our little stamp here. And let's see, where is it going to fit on this scrap? I think if I flip it upside down, it'll fit better right here. There. Okay. And we are going to color that with some petal pink. And I do need a Misty Moonlight. Where is the Misty Moonlight? That is very strange, because the Misty Moonlight Stampin' Blends are not, oh, here they are. I was like, they're not in my stack here, but they are. They're in the wrong spot. So that is on me. That's my bad. Okay. We are going to start out with some Old Olive, and we're going to do the leaves. And again, I'm not going to do any fancy coloring, any shading kind of stuff, because I'm just not that good at it. So we're just going to color. And I feel like anybody can do this, right? Not anybody can do all that blending and shading and all that kind of stuff. I wish I could, but it's just not something that I think a lot of it is I don't have the patience for it. I'm a very fast-paced person, and I don't have a lot of patience for things that take a long time. So I like things to just be done. What do we have here? This is a dark petal pink. And I feel like the last time I used this, because I did some swaps with this. This is a swap card that I made. And when I used this marker the last time, I think I made about 15 of them. My marker was getting kind of dry, but it seems to have rejuvenated itself while it sat in my bucket for a couple of weeks. So there you go. If you think your blends are getting dry, just, leave it for a little bit, and then maybe it'll rejuvenate itself. And this one seems to have done that. So there we go. Okay, and then I have the Misty Moonlight. And I'm just going to kind of tap, tap, tap here in the middle. So I'm not trying to get every single spot. I'm just kind of trying to add a little color because my color combo is the Petal Pink, Misty Moonlight, and Old Olive. And then, of course, I would die cut that. And here it is. Oh, I lied. Look at that. I did put some dark Old Olive in the veins of the leaves. So I did try to add some shading. But it's got to be quick, or I don't want anything. I don't want anything to do with it. If it's going to take me a long time, then forget it. So there we go. That's our shading right there. I cracked myself up. Okay, so now what we have is we're going to put this on here like this. We're going to put our ribbon on, and then we're going to put this on. But I wanted something in the background of this layer here. So I decided to use the large floral stamp that's in the set and some Misty Moonlight ink and kind of stamp it right here. So what I decided to do was to take a pen and kind of mark where I need it to be over. So this is just like a gel pen, a silver gel pen. So now I can see I have a line of sight here where I know where to stamp that. Because I want the majority of this stamp to be above my line where my diagonal piece is. So I'm just going to ink this up. And then we are going to stamp it mostly above that line, like so. So there's my line, and most of my stamp is now above the line. Okay, so now we can go ahead and glue our little piece on. Oh, and this was embossed with the Pressed Flowers embossing folder, which was part of the suite of the stuff that came out in, what is this, July? That must have come out in May. And it was, oh yeah, when our new catalog came out. And so it was part of the Floral Impressions collection. So it's called the Pressed Flowers. It's not a complete design, so the entire folder isn't the design, but it's enough that I wanted, the whole thing for this, and this piece was small enough, so I was able to get the whole design on that. Okay, now we're going to bring in the ribbon that coordinates with this suite, and this is called the Petal Pink Braided Trim. And as you can see, it is absolutely braided. It is very flat, but it is kind of bulky. And so if you were going to tie knots and bows, I think you'd want to hand deliver your card. But because I'm just going to lay this on here, I think I'm going to be fine. Now, this does have, like you can see all these little bits that are along the edge there. I don't really want all that. So I'm just going to kind of cut all that off. So it's doesn't look so, not that it's messy, but it's just not the vibe I'm going for on my card. So I am going to trim off that excess stuff that's kind of hanging off the edges here, which is probably indicative of whatever this is made out of. Okay, so we're just going to measure how much we need, chop it off, and then we're just going to lay it on here. I'm going to kind of pull it to stretch it out first so that it's kind of straight, and then I'm just going to lay it across my, I call it the seam, where, one layer of paper meets the other layer of paper. So to me, that's a seam. So I just run it along the seam, and then we're just going to tape it on the back. There we go. And then we have our little floral piece right here that we're going to add. And I think I'm just going to do that with some dimensionals. So I think we're going to go, where did I put those? Well, oh, here they are. So I'm going to put one dimensional back here. And then I'm going to put, I think, one right here. And then the ribbon will be in the way. So the ribbon will kind of hold it up. All right. I keep forgetting to look at the comments. Thankfully, nobody is asking me anything that I have to answer because I'm just in the zone here. All right, so I think we're going to do something like that. Yep. Okay, and then I need where's my stamp set? I need a sentiment out of here. Or do I already have it? Oh, I already have it. Okay. So I have a tiny little phrase here. You know what? I did die cut this out of the pear dies because I was going to use it on that pear card, and then I didn't. So I'm going to use it on this card for my little sentiment piece that I'm going to stick on the card here. So let me just ink this up. It says, "You made my day," and I think I'm just going to do it in the middle and then cut the ends off. that should work. And I kind of like these rounded ends, but they got to go because it's too long otherwise, and it'll look funny, I think. Okay, so then I am going to, whoops, come back here, you. I need, ooh, look at this. I have a few little minis left in this sheet. I'm going to put 2 minis on here. And I'm going to add this right down here at the bottom. Just have a little interest there with our sentiment. Okay, and then I am going to add this to the front of the card with some dimensionals, just because this is a little bit bulky, this ribbon. And so I'm just going to put the dimensionals on so that it's kind of the same level then as the ribbon, if you will. And then we just have to do the inside. Whoops, get off there. Okay, make sure that that's the correct way. And, you know, I have a feeling, I'm going to look at my Color Coach cards. It's possible that this could be a Color Coach combination. Let me see here. Okay, Petal Pink. Well, here we have the Petal Pink and the Misty Moonlight, so I probably could have gotten it from there and then just thrown the old olive in. This is my guess. That's how I came up with that color combination. So I love using that Color Coach. All right, final thing to the outside, we need our gems. These are the Charming Shimmer Faceted Dots. Thank you so much, Wendy. Wendy likes my projects tonight. I appreciate that. And we are going to go with a couple up here, maybe a small and a large up there, and then maybe a small kind of right down here. Okay. And then I have another sentiment here that I'm going to stamp on my inside layer, wherever I put that. Here we go. First of all, I think I'm going to stamp this image again on the inside. And then we will add our sentiment. So let me ink that up. And we'll color this the same. So we'll stamp that. And then we have a thank you stamp here. And we're going to stamp that right down there at the bottom. And then we're going to pull this marker back in and see if it has one more flower left in it before it dies. Come on, baby, you can do it. Yeah, that's kind of crazy because it literally was dying after I got done with my cards, and I thought, oh, I need a new marker, which I have another set of them. But, you know, you never want to use them unless you absolutely have to, right? And we'll do these leaves once again. So those of you that have joined us later, any of you got any big plans for the 4th? Do you do anything fun? We are probably not going to do anything fun. We might go out in our front yard and watch our neighbor's fireworks display. We happen to live in the county of Sheridan, and in the county, in the county, you can light off fireworks. In the city, you cannot. So we live in the county, so we can legally light off fireworks at our house, and we have done so in the past when the kids were younger. We have a concrete pad out in the middle of our backyard that we would light fireworks off of. What's another funny kind of thing here? Wyoming has, good fireworks, if you will. And people from Colorado come to Wyoming to buy fireworks all the time. And so do people from Montana. So people from Montana will come here to Sheridan to buy fireworks, and people from Colorado will come up to Cheyenne, which is like the first town that you come to in Wyoming from Colorado, to buy fireworks, because we have the good stuff here. All right. So that is my card. Fun. I hope you guys liked it. This is a gorgeous, gorgeous stamp set. I love it so much. And I'm really excited about our class. It's going to be really fun. And of course, you can, the link is in the description of this video. I'm trying to make some room so I can bring my other cards in. So we have the Charming Day. We have the 2 Halloween cards. Whoops, maybe we should do it like this. And our pear card. I love these pears. Can we just take a moment for these pears again? They are amazing. All right, and then our Halloween cards. Yay! So thank you guys for joining me tonight on this 4th of July Eve. And I hope you guys all have a very safe and fun 4th of July weekend. We'll talk next week about what we all did, if we did anything at all. And thank you guys for watching. Appreciate it so much. And I will see you guys again next week. So bye-bye, guys.